Dear listeners, welcome at the second episode from series Aschen's Complex on podcast channel Solid State Society. This episode I called The Women is Gateway to Society for Men. For those who listen previous episode, Aschen Complex is new series where I want to talk about outcomes of feminism and modern society on structure of humanity. But in Aschen Complex, I take out all the romantic, sexual relationship, dating. I totally take it out. And in Aschen Complex, I'm trying to focus only how this feminist experiment have negative effect on us, especially when you are a man, but also to a women, on us as the society, even without sexuality, dating, and partnership. In the first episode, I was talking about how the feminism and they're doing like putting women in workforce, letting them divorce, destruction of family, how that led to saturation of housing market, saturation of the workforce. So basically your salary is now lower than it was before the feminism. That leads that now there must be double income households instead of one, as it was normal before the rise of the feminism, and many other negative things. In this second episode, I want to talk about how the breakup, how the feminism led to breakup of the family, and that have break up our community. Because as I heard in, I don't remember where, but someone make great note, basic stem cell of our community, of society, is not individual, but it's actual family. With feminism, we have broken family, and with that, we broken our community, and that have huge negative impact on society as a whole. I called this episode Women is Gateway to Men for Society. What I mean that there is great saying that in English that there is women is gatekeeper for sex for men. And I want to add another sentence to that saying. Yes, women is gatekeeper for sex for men, but she's also gateway to the society for men. What I mean is that to having girlfriend, having wife, having a female, another woman in your life makes men more sociable, makes men more go to the society and socialize with others. Without women in his life, without the partner, the female partner in his life, men have natural tendency to withdraw from the society, from contact with other people, and that have negative impact on our society, on our communities in the core. So, what I mean, let's say take the first example, the clubs. We right now are experiencing how the clubs, how the culture that was very live and thriving when I was young during, let's say, 90s and the beginning of millennium, how the clubs was very thriving culture, how everybody goes and men and women interact. But more and more right now we see negative effect of hypergamy, feminism, and also, of course, aftermath of online contacts, social networks, online datings, and things like that. What kind of effect is that have? Basically, the clubs or other social gatherings where before usually men and women start to mate or find a date, find a partner what they start to dating, these gatherings start to empty or start to lack men in general. and it's now a symbol. And it's actually very understandable that it will happen. We already talked, and I make a special episode that I release also on YouTube about hypergamy, about women tendency 80 to 20, date and focus only as on top 20%, someone now saying 10 or 5 most valuable men in society. But that have negative effect on whole society, because women in that case are waiting only on best male, most valuable man, and refusing all other men that they are not so valuable. And this create negative effect for women. It creates negative effect for the rest unvaluable men, and it's also spoiled the valuable man, because it's make world for them or environment where they can have partner immediately, or there is always women waiting for them to have sex with them, and that's basically spoil them. So hypergamy, uncontrolled hypergamy, how it evolved in our modern society, where women do not take accountability for their actions. Like states will take care of them if they will become pregnant, and the partner will not take care of them, or state will take care of them if they will not find a suitable partner and withhold him long enough that he will take care of her when she will get old. That's what I call that man, the state replace man as primary caretaker for women. This is the false. This is wrong. And when feminism is screaming that men are evil and they are trying to take women's right, no, we just don't want to encourage society and regime that is literally against us, that is literally replacing us, and it's right. But I don't want to talk about this. What I want to try to explain this with the hypergamy, with our modern society, with everything what is happening right now, men just have tendency to not go out. In the past, for centuries, the social gatherings, dancings, village dancings was something similar like our clubs, where special young people met, dance together, get to know together, maybe start to dating and find a partner. This is what usually happened many centuries in past, probably in most of human history, in many civilizations. But what is happening right now, we can see how the clubs are bankrupting, how the clubs are now full of women and no men. And it's actually very understandable that this will happen. If women will say, man, okay, 80% of men, hey, you're not valuable enough, we will not want to do anything with you, get out, so men will do, and that 80% of men will get out, and stay only that 20% of men. And even that 20% of men, as I told you, as I explained in my special bonus video about hypergamy, that top 20% of men became spoiled, and they will not bother to go clubs at all, because they know that there is literally a new woman waiting in his closet to fuck with him. So this led that clubs or other social gatherings where usually young men and young women met in the past are now empty and closing, because only women arrive, or most of the time, most of the women arrive, but men don't. Men rather sit at home playing World of Warcraft on their computers than going to gatherings where women will mock them and humiliate them. It's fully understandable. But this creates problems, because if you have some club that generations or 2 generations ago, there was hundreds of people, half of them was women, half of them was men, and now half of that people, the men, are not coming, they are not arriving, and the clubs are now empty, empty by point of view of men, and full of women that do not have anyone what they can mingle with. then this social gathering place is falling apart. I hate what happened with the clubs, because honestly, and I don't like to open myself too much, but honestly, one of the few things what I miss in my life without girlfriend, without wife, is dancing. I like dancing. I was never a sport guy, but I was very much to dancing. But more and more I understood that clubs and bars became something different. Not just place for gathering, place where people can dance together and enjoy each other companies. The typical notion of women, their sexual program of constantly showing themselves and sexualize themselves, have won this battle. And that's why the club scene is now wasteland. Because now the clubs are not anymore, or what happened was that clubs became not the places where you can meet someone and dance with someone. It became places where women can show themselves, where they can get the gratification. They can show, hey, look on me, I'm a young woman, I got breast, I got butt, worship me and tell me how valuable I am. And men don't like that. So, and especially when these women humiliate and mock the normal man, and normal man stop to go to that places. And just think how much the club scene was just part of the society, but it was part that generate money. It was part of the society that entertained people, because people was entertained to have dancing together. It was the society that employed people, generate profit. And this scene, this part of the society is now dying, and probably will die very soon. This is the example what I'm talking about. And this is just beginning. So the man will not go to social gatherings like clubs. They will not meet a woman there, never start dating. That's wrong itself. But what will go next? Just think about it, that if there is man and he is dating a woman, they are in partnership, maybe they are even married. What is usually happening, and what I mean if I say that women is gateway to society, to community for man. If the man have girlfriend, then his life is different, and he is basically pushed by his women to society more. Just think about it. If men have girlfriend, the girlfriend constantly forcing him to go and, let's say, meet at least once a year with her parents, or even meet with the parents of his. So at least 2 times a year they are going to some dinner with the parents or one of the partner. What the man alone will not do. He will not even want to see his parents. But if he would have a girlfriend will he pushing him to do that. So let's think about it this way. If the man have a girlfriend at least 2 times a year, he is forced to going to dinner. In the dinner, he is socializing with the parents of his or her. When they are going there, she probably forced him to buy some gift. Let's say a box of chocolate or flowers to her or his mother. So he's going and spend some money. He is entertaining. Let's say he's going to dinner to house of the parents of his. That is forcing the man from the couple, from the parents, one of the fathers, to buy more beer that he will share with the partner with his son or with the partner of his daughter. They will buy a food that they will cook. They will buy more food that they will cook, and they will have some kind of a social gathering, let's say dinner or lunch together, and where they will spend some time. Maybe the father and the son will, or father-in-law, I mean, it could be, start to talk about how they have same interest. Let's say they are like to watching some sport, they are going on football event, and they just agree that they will go there together. But if that man don't have a woman, don't have the partner, that partner is still exist somewhere outside, but she don't have him. She's alone, or she's chasing some chat, some high valuable man outside, which she will never force him to stay with her. And that man, instead of going at least 2 times for a year to dinner, to socialize, what he's doing, he's just sitting at home, watching TV, playing on computer, and unsocialized itself. That's the problem, because men have tendency, when they don't have partner, their tendency to socialize, to go somewhere and do something with someone is going down. And just take my example, what I told you, how much the profit, how much social interaction that actually gathered. How much extra food was bought and cooked if the boy, if young man have a girlfriend, how much profit was generated, how much socialization was happening, because these people talk to each other on dinner or in lunch. They have shared interested thoughts or views on things. Nothing of that is happening. The young man is sitting at home playing the computer games. And by the way, what I want to say is, I don't blame computer games. I said World of Warcraft purposely because I remember it's many years ago, like a decade ago, where someone on some TV was saying that World of Warcraft is so dangerous, it's luring the man to play them and not interact with real world. And yeah, it was in the time where it happens, things like man died on toilet after 48 hours he played World of Warcraft. But my point is that their view, the view of that commentator was wrong. The point of view that the World of Warcraft, video games, online world is so dangerous for us is wrong. It's not a problem in World of Warcraft that this game would be so learning, so interesting for us that we could disconnect and have our life. The problem is that our life, normal world, is worst for man. That's the point. The mistake is not in World of Warcraft and online. Problem is in our world, that we are pushing this man outside. If he would have a girlfriend, that girlfriend would probably force him to go on dinners with his or her parents. But when he don't have the girlfriend, he is sitting at home, he is not even calling his own parents, just playing video games, going to work and back, and just do not socialize at all. And think how much women actually socialize men in the way that how many times women force men to go on concerts or ballet or to the theater or other gatherings, at least to the cinema. And women, if you don't know that, but trust me, if the man don't have a wife or girlfriend, he's just not forced to. When in this example, we men are lacking need or want for socialization. And it's bad for us. Of course it's bad. And again, just think about how many theater, concert, ballet tickets It's unsettled because men are not dating women. And what entire feminism or even manosphere is not understanding is that we have 50 to 50 population. What that means that in all world population, even in the China, where they have one child policy, where they was purposely forcing people to have baby boys instead of baby girls because the society and outcomes, even in China, they have only 20 million men more in over a billion population than women. So it's really not so much. In most of the world, we have 50% men to 50% of women. And yes, I know the feminists or leftists will argue it's actually more, that it's like 53 or 56% of women towards 40-something men. No, okay. Yes, it's true. But true is that the difference in this number is because women live a little bit longer. We know in average women live like 3 years longer than average men. And this is creating this discrepancy. If we take out from statistics the women who are basically living over the man, you will see the numbers will be basically 50-50. And when I say that we have 50% of men to 50% of women, that literally means that we have one man to one woman. And it's something what manosphere, I don't think the feminism will learn that, but manosphere must learn and accept inside of themselves. Because people like Andrew Tate who are saying, oh, you're supposed to go and fuck with lots of women and have lots of children as I am, they are going against this number. Because if there is a man, let's say a high valuable man who have more than one woman, then he's stealing that woman from someone else. Or if there is a woman, or because she's great feminist, angry woman who cannot literally find or hold partner. So if you have women that is single, then means on other side of the spectrum, you have man that is single as well. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what most people do not understand. Feminism or manosphere as like. We have one man to one woman. It's simple mathematics. And if you have word like that, if you have women that is chasing high value man, fucking around but don't have a partner at all, then on other side of the spectrum is man who just don't have partner. And when he don't have partner, he is not going to gathering places like clubs. He is not going to dinners with the parents of his or parents if potential partner. He is not going to cinema, to theater, to ballet or art museums or things like that. Yes, I know, I simplify things that even single man can go to cinema or even single man can go to art museums. Not many single men will go to ballet, but anyway, the point is that women are usually the one who are pushing the socialization. And socialization are good because people meet, people share their ideas and opinions. It's generate profit, and it's generally better for us, both men and women alike, that it's better for us to meet with other people. But if you create society like we are, when women, because they are arrogant and selfish and brainwashed by feminism, if they are rejecting men and rather stay alone at home or sharing one valuable man with other women's, so that basically means that there's some beautiful chat that fucks her once a month and then she spend rest of the month empty, alone, with just cats in their apartment, that's wrong. That's wrong for our society, because it's lower socialization between people. It's lower the profit. It's bad also for economy. The capitalists will argue against me, but the capitalism basically create a loophole that is destroying itself, as the communism basically are doing the same thing. Because without families, without working communities, the profit, the travel of money, economy is going down as well. Because young man who is sitting at home, playing video games on computers at home, don't have a girlfriend, will not generate as much money, will not buy as much money things, or sell as much many things as the young man who have the girlfriend. And that's the point. And honestly, I start to think about this concept when I see in one series, again, girl that is going to community for poor diner, preparing food for poor people. And I start to think about that concept of community diners, and how it's often women who are going there, who are preparing food or take care about things for that. But because now these women are without partners, they are going there alone and giving only their skills, their ability to prepare food or clean the tables. That's what they're bringing to the two. But the sad truth, and what the feminism will not very like, but the sad truth is, it's the men who are building civilization. It's the men who are generating more profit, because the men are creating more things. And that's basically, by the way, how the myth or lie of gender pay gap was created. The problem with gender pay gap is it's myth. It's not literally a lie, because yes, on average, men are the ones who have more money, who generate more money, who have higher salaries, because they work harder, they are more effective in their work, or they have greater, let's say, fantasies and abilities to learn, to evolve, create new things. On average, men are the ones who are truly building and creating, and that's, of course, give them more money, more profit. If you are engineer creating iPhones, of course you have more money than women that is just sitting at office and putting numbers inside of your computer, of course. And because men in this are more creative, more effective, or just willing to work harder, faster, stronger, longer hours, they have more profit. So basically, the men have more money. That's true. The problem with gender pay gap is how you represent the statistics. That's the problem, by the way. That's why it's myth, because how they use the statistics, basically just saying that, oh, women have less money because there is evil patriarchy that is taking the money or not giving them enough money as the man. That's the lie. But if you just take this idea that men have generated more money, working harder, working better, creating more things on average. And second thing, what they will not usually do, it's the men who are actually bringing more money to the state than women. What I mean that men usually, on average, start work early in their lives, especially in our today modern world, where we have created this system of universities that is take care about women, indoctrinating them by communism, feminism, taking best years of their life to spend there on universities, and they pop them up with some degree from some university and basically tell them that they are supposed to be workers, not mothers from the families. And why this is wrong? Because, as I told you, men start to work harder early. Probably also because the men do not attend in universities as much as women, so that means that men are actually forced to go to workforce early in their life than women. And they start work. And as I tell you, on average, men are better workers. Men create more things, they are more effective, and they generate more profit. So through their life, men generate more money than women. That's the fact. And the problem is that because we know men have generate more money, and because they have tendency to die early in their lives, and yes, we can argue why is that, if we do not think about our health more, or if our body is actually built to fail early in their lives. I got great theory for that, but I will not talk about it. I will let it to some post or video somewhere else. My point is, or data, what I heard, and it makes fully total sense, is that men generate more money in their lives during their work life than women, and they die early. So they do not have enough time to consume everything what they send to the state, and the state end up with the man more money. There will be money that stay after the man's death. But on the other hand, what they will not tell you is that women, on average, yeah, there are some exceptions, but on average, women, through their life, especially when they get older, they consume everything what they bring through the taxes to the state, and then consume more. If you would have society only built with women, then state would bankrupt basically, because the state would not have money to send them. The truth is, and that's what angers me, and that's why all this is Aschen's complex, how our systems are built against men and for women, is that literally state is taking money from the man and sending this money to women. That's what they will not tell you, but this is how it is. And why I'm talking about it? Because if you realize that, you also realize that men who are generating more money, working harder, usually working longer hours, giving more of their lives to work what they're doing, instead of women that still want to socialize. If they have a combination with women, if he have a girlfriend or wife, and maybe even children, then he's probably spending this money on her. What I mean is that in the model of a community diner that is giving free food to the poor, it usually in these gatherings or community diners, it works like that. The women have tendency to go there because women on average want to take care about other people, want to socialize. So they are going to the public diners to help. They cook the food, they prepare food, they clean tables, and then clean the dishes. That's what they're bringing, and they want to go there. They have tendency or willingness and want to go and do that. If they have partner, they bring the partner with her. That means that they are bringing another asset, and that partner, as I told you, men on average generate more money and have more money. Then it means that she's also bringing someone that have money, and he can put this money to the diner. So basically, when she have a boyfriend, she is, on average, of course, she's bringing not just manpower of herself to prepare to cook food, but she's also bringing money of her partner, money that the diner can spend to buy ingredients for that food. But this is what is happening, because right now, when the men are sitting at home alone because women don't want them, you end up that most of the community diners have now women that are going there, offering themselves, offering their workforce that they will prepare food, they will serve, clean the tables, clean the dishes, as they did in the past. But the second part, that man, their boyfriend, potential boyfriend or husband, that was also bringing money, is missing. So these community diners, if they are not supported by some great fund or something like that, is struggling also. Because the money what they used to have in just few generations ago are now gone. They are not just not available for them, but they are not existing. The great truth is that men are usually trying more if they actually have a wife and children. I made a post a few days ago where I was talking about how you as the state, if you want to wage war and attack other countries, you need lots of single young men. And if you want country that could defend itself, where you have army, and if you will be attacked, then many people will actually stand up, many men will stand up, go to the army and fight for the state, you need lots of men that have partners, most of the time wives and children. Because men are programmed to do work, fight, and giving their lives for their partners and children. And this is difference between Russia and Ukraine. I know that you can be from somewhere else, from rest of the world, and you do not know that. But on average, I can tell you that Ukrainian women, and you can think about them whatever you want. I think about them whatever. I don't have just great opinions on them. But one thing I can admit it. Russian women on average are more arrogant, and Ukrainian women probably have a little bit greater tendency to actually get a boyfriend, get a husband, and have children with them. From my context, and I have lots of context here in my Czech Republic with Russian girls, with Ukrainian girls, I know the Russians girls are more arrogant. And with that more arrogance, it brings also that they are not willing to stay in long-term partnership as well as Ukrainians. And that create actually very interesting effect that many Ukrainian men, when the war starts, actually goes, let themselves enlisted and fight for Ukraine against Russians. Why? Because we constantly say that defend our country, defend our motherland. It's actually not true. They are not defending their land and motherland. They are defending their families, their friends, and especially, and most importantly, his wife and children. If you have society that is letting people, offering the man to have families, to have children with the wives, then the man will later on be willing to go and give his life to protect the state where his family and children, the wife and children are living. That's why we have so many problems now, especially around Europe. Many armies have problem to actually have new recruits, because most men, these societies are not offering men or women, and without women, the men do not feel need to go and fight for them. So it's terrible because it's crushing society in many things, and it's disintegrating community. In the past, most women was with some men and forcing men to go to social gatherings, to socialize with others, with neighbors. I'm a single man. Do you think that I know, at least by name, my neighbors? I have like 20 people, 20 neighbors in my house living next to me, and I didn't even know their names. But I'm sure that if the woman would be living here instead of me, or if I would have a girlfriend or wife, the socialization will be probably much higher, and that would lead to better contacts and better outcomes in the future. And it's not just about that. Just think that a woman in your life is also a topic for talk. Yes, many of you would argue that many men, even without girlfriend or wife, will still going to pubs and drinking, having beer with his friends. And many men actually have friends. Yes, you are true. What I'm pointing out is they don't have as many friends as they would actually have if they would have a girlfriend. And I know that argument is that, if the John have a girlfriend, the girlfriend is not letting him to hang out with us. This very short-term looking on the things. Actually, the girlfriend of John, forcing John to socialize in many other things than just going to pub with his friends. And the second thing is that if John have a girlfriend, then he have team to talk about. So when he goes to the pub, actually, with his friends or with some neighbors, the women as the topic is something what they talk about. It's usually start, one of them, there are few men sitting at the tables, and they usually talk about sports, about politics, but women as well. One of them will say, my wife is doing this, or my wife have angered me yesterday because she done this, or scream on this. And usually other will intervene in discussion and say, my wife is doing precisely the same, or my wife is doing something different and it's much worse. It's again topic. And with new topic, it brings again new type of socialization. So even when that man is alone, if he have a girlfriend, a wife, he have another topic what he can talk about with his neighbors, with his friends, and more socialized again. So having a girlfriend, a boyfriend, it's good for the society. It socialized men more. And for the moment, we will look on other side for the women, because as I told you, men are usually the ones who are bringing money. Men are usually the ones who are paying for the dates, who are buying gifts, flowers, a box of chocolates, and other things. Without boyfriend, women are actually cutting themselves off from all these things. And yes, for some time you can have some simp that is buying things for you, especially when you are young, but this is very limited time solution, because you need it your whole life. So your whole life you need some partner, and if you don't have it, then you are losing that income. It's simple mathematics. And don't say it's not working like that, because women's group are usually doing the same. We know that, again, I made a bonus episode in group bias, or sisterhood in group bias, where I was talking about how it became and how women are basically biased against men, and they have great tendency to see other women like their, let's say, sisters, friends, or comrades, if you want. And usually how this group starts is with creation of common enemy. Women have great tendency to hate or disrespect men because in most of women's group, man is common enemy. It's the ground where the friendship or contact or some kind of relationship with other women can rise. Imagine it this way. If there will be 3 women that they do not know each other and they are just going to child doctor office and they are sitting in waiting room and nobody is talking about anything and they are waiting and they do not know each other, usually when they start to talk, and that's different from the man, that's what I was pointing out in my 7 circles of how gender was. The women are communicators. The women would have tendency. If there would be 3 fathers sitting in waiting room at the doctor office, they usually will not start to talk about with each other, but women will do. And how to find common theme that can unite you, that can start discussion is, oh, my husband would never change my children's diaper. And a second girl will say, yeah, my husband actually changed diapers, but he's bad in another thing. And the third will say, yes, you are right. My husband is not changing diapers and not doing anything because he's so bad that I will not even allow him. This is creating of common enemy. Usually, opposite side is common enemy for your side. And establishing common enemy creates you, the topic, what you can make others of your group allied with each other. And this is happening. And just think about it, that if now women don't have many boyfriends or husbands, so they are losing the common enemy. They are still trying. Yeah, I know. They still will be talking. They will still see the man as common enemy on feminist forums and things like that. But still, part of their life is actually missing. Because they just don't have boyfriends or husbands. They are single mothers alone. So they don't have topic examples. They cannot say to another woman, hey, my husband is doing this and that and it's driving me crazy, because they don't have it. And worst part it is that there was post of one girl that was trying to tell that she's femcel, that she cannot find a husband or partner herself. And typical response, and my response also most of the time, is that, oh, this is not right, and most women can have men that will at least want to go sleep with you, and it's true. But more and more when I see how the situation worldwide is bad, more I start to think that femcells are probably real. Because, and I actually explained that even in my hypergamy bonus episode, if there is a girl that is literally interesting, she's maybe ugly, she's nothing. And because hypergamy, most of the men who would be even better than her, but would intend in some kind of dating or interaction, are so disappointed with situation that they stopped going to the clubs, stopped going to the social gatherings, stopped going to community things. Then she literally could not find a partner for herself. And it's true, because there are just thousands of other more better looking women that Chad would actually agree to sleep with them, and the women on tail of the spectrum will and starting literally be unable to find partner for themselves. Yes, I know most of them, 95%, maybe 99% of them are just delusional women with too much high standards. I know. But I start to think that there are truly some girls that they are undateable in this scheme, because the normal guys who was on her level, who would be willing to date her even when she's ugly, uninteresting, or other things, they are so disappointed with the scene, with reality of our world, that they are not intending and sitting at home and became hikikomori incels, do not going out and just playing video games. This is real. So yes, there must be femcells outside as well. And with creating the world where men and women are separate brings another danger. Not just falling down of economy, falling down of social interaction, disintegrating community, but it's bringing the dangers of radicalization. I made a post and I am standing behind it. It's funny how the men and women are different and same in many things. What I mean that most of the men became radicalized when they are alone. Most of the women became radicalized when they are in female groups. The tendency to be radicalized is very similar, but in different environment. Men became more angry, more radicalized, more fundamental, more willing to do terrible things like shooting down the people on the street or in the schools if he is alone. And by the way, more and more I'm start to think that letting someone be alone is maybe worse than actually hurt someone. The most aggressive people, most disappointed people with society and with others, willing to do most heinous type of violence, are not the ones who was damaged by someone, who was under influence or was taken something from them or someone hurt them. But most dangerous people, most aggressive, most evil people are usually one who was left alone, who was living alone without others. This is greater dangers than anything else. Look on our imprisonments. Letting prisoner alone is the greatest punishment in any prison. What is saying about us? That loneliness is actually the most dangerous thing for us all. And we have created a society where dating, where coming together with the partner is falling apart and disintegrating. The destruction of family, and that is letting people be alone. So the men are alone at home, and they are radicalized by their loneliness. And yes, in some point they are going out and going to manosphere, red pill, incel forums, and that will radicalize them more. But the reason and core why they are radicalized is because they are alone. Because nobody is next to them. Nobody socializes with them. And the most devious thing what our society is doing is that they are mocking them. It's fascinating how we have so much leftist society today that our society is so communist based and our ideas in the society is so left-leaning communist way that women are constantly saying that everything is the fault of outside world, that there is evil patriarchy that is doing bad things to us, and that's typical left-leaning view that nothing is my fault, everything is fault of others. That's left view on things. On other hand, right-leaning view is everything is only my fault, my individual. For you, I will eventually release the video about obesity, because obesity is a topic that is literally standing in these two extreme views, view of the left and view of the right. Right is constantly blaming the fat people, that it's only their fault, and left is constantly blaming others, saying, oh, it's not your fault, it's fault of others. And both views are stupid because both are extreme. It's not true. Reality is somewhere in the middle. And it's funny how in our society, capitalist, but with so many communist leftist view, how we are blaming men. Because left usually blame others, blame society, saying that there is evil patriarchy, there is bad capitalism, constantly blaming others. But when we go to the topic of men and men unable to date women, to have a girlfriend or wife, they suddenly switch to right-leaning view and saying it's only their fault. It's never a woman's fault, it's man's fault. It's the fault of that young boy that he cannot find a partner. That's interesting because that's right-leaning point of view. And that's why I do not like most of the manosphere today, because most of the manosphere red pill scene is right-leaning. Even the people like Pearl Davis, she's obviously right-leaning person, ideologically right-leaning person, so constantly saying, blaming individual, blaming you, and I just disagree with that, because I generally believe that reality, the truth is somewhere in the middle. And we cannot constantly blame only the mans, that men cannot find, the young boys cannot find a girlfriend, and it's only their fault. We must start to blame also the society, also the opposite side of women. And I will continue. So, the men became radicalized when they are alone. On the other hand, we have women, and women usually do not become radicalized when they are alone, but they became radicalized when they are in group. It's the women group that are actually radicalizing women. For many now years, I am listening and watching many female podcasts, and I realized one thing. Because women are communicators, and they must communicate constantly. They must constantly talk about things, what they do, what they live through. By the way, dear ladies, this is your greatest weapon, but also greatest weakness. Because I am so fascinated how women are capable to talking publicly about their own else, about their own loose, about things what they doing wrong or happen to them wrong. It's unbelievable. There is saying in my language, and I hope in English is as well, it's silver to talking and gold to be silent. Women should definitely learn that for themselves. And I'm not saying that to silence them. I'm just telling them that speaking about too much things is actually hurting your cause. But anyway, more and more, I realize one thing, how women are actually talking and how their manipulation and propaganda works. They have tendency to constantly repeat it and talk about, let's say, essays or grapes constantly, and creating these huge illusions that this has happened on normal, often level. But it's actually not true. But because they constantly talking about, let's say that there is one murder in 1 million city. And because one of the women experienced that, because it was, let's say, her husband that was killed, she will start to talk about it. And other women will repeat it. And they will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. So it will, all public space will looks like in the city is constant murders, mayhem, like people are killed on every corner every day, even when truth is that there was one person that was just killed. And yes, it was killed by some, let's say, some thief or something like that, so it was not accident. But anyway, the women will talk about these issues. They will talk about their grapes, about their essay. That you will start, it will start to look like it's everywhere, like it's everyone. I call it monkey effect, because it reminds me monkeys, like monkey tribes, when they see the danger, let's say predator, they start to making their woo, 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 and they cannot stop until everybody in the group will pace themselves. And obviously we are primates as monkeys, because women are doing precisely the same. They are constantly repeating, talking about essay, about sexual assault, about rapes, about the killings, and it will look like it's everywhere, when in truth it's not. And the second thing, what I realized, to listening them and watching them, I realized how they radicalize each other. I made a post about that, but I will repeat it. So let's say there is women that go to public and she was grabbed by her butt by someone. And she's angry. Of course, she's angry because of that. But let's say she's mildly angry. She's not like traumatized or angry very much. She's just angry that this has happened, and she didn't like that, of course, but she is just mildly angry. And then she will go to the group, let's say group of her friends, and she will start to talk about it. And she's saying, oh, I walk on the street and there was this strange guy. He came to me and grabbed me by my butt. And one girl, through the talk, was start to discuss, oh, that was terrible. And he was even not wearing something very promiscuous, right? And another girl will add, yeah, you are angry and you also must be feeling humiliated. And another girl will add, oh, this is evil patriarchy attacking you. This is terrible. And basically what they are doing is that they are putting small information inside of her head. And basically, when the girl will leave the group, she will be persuaded by rest of the group, by other women, how angry, how humiliating, how sexist, how this was attacked of the patriarchy, how all the streets are full of that. She would be literally traumatized by that experience, even when she was actually not. At the beginning, she was just angry. She was mildly angry that this has happened, and if she would not talk about that, she would actually never mind that or forget it very, very soon and never remember that at all in her life. But with especially extreme feminist single women group, when she starts to talk about it, the other women will start to put small pieces of information in her. I was watching the podcast of one girl from Slovakia, that's our neighbor country, and I noticed one thing what she is doing. She's constantly there. She invited a woman that was talking about how they was raped when they was young, and what she is doing, she constantly have tendency to stop them for the moment and always say, you was just a child, you was just a child, You was child back then. You was child. Something what they did not see, and maybe probably even do not think at that moment or at all. But she's constantly putting these pieces of information inside of them. This is how it works. The women radicalize themselves, each other, with the group. And the society could work only, and what we should start to care about men who are alone outside of groups, and we should start to care about the female groups, what they are doing and what they are saying. And we have failed as a society in both of that. That's the problem what we have. And this is have these huge outcomes on us, because more and more separate we are, more our economy is failing. Industries like clubs are constantly bankrupting. People are not going to cinema, theater, ballet, concerts, and things like that, or at least not in the numbers as they would. And if you think this is bad only for men, it's bad for women as well. The women often doing one thing, and just close your eyes and imagine what I'm talking about. I notice how women, often young girls, have tendency to bring to their homes some stranger, a woman. How young, especially teenage girls, have tendency to bring some female friend to the home, basically start to living with them. Just think about it. How much, think about your life, about the women, what you know, how much you experience that. Women are doing that very often. And this is actually where the women need a man in her life, because it's the man who will stop that. So if there would be women that brings, let's say adult woman that is bringing her friend to the home, if she would have partner, let's say husband will say her, all right, but she's staying here tonight, but tomorrow she must go. Or the woman would be actually afraid that her husband would actually start to have some relationship with her. And that's a valid point of view as well. Basically, what I'm saying that if the woman have partner, if she have husband, boyfriend, or at least father in her home, this male figure usually have limited this interaction, saying, okay, she can stay here for today, maybe tomorrow, but that's end. She cannot stay. But if the woman do not have in her life a male figure, it's actually end up often with women bringing her female, basically strange woman friend and staying with her for, let's say, lots of months, that she will literally start to using her. There will be conflicts, and until this will end, it will be a few weeks or months, even years, where the woman that brings that strange female will be used, steal from her, and many other negative things. This is what women usually do. And it makes sense, as I explained in actually sixth circle of gender wars, sixth circle of hell of gender wars. In most of the human history, there was 6-1. There was, on average, 6 women on 1 man. And family model was basically one husband with harem of his wives. And that create in women that in-group bias. They are literally programmed to live in a community of women in a harem. And they have constantly unconscious tendency to create harems. That's why actually women are with hypergamy are capable to withstand and share her husband with valuable men with other women's because they are programmed to do that. It's some kind of prehistoric code inside of them head. But this code is creating also dangerous because they have tendency to bring another woman in their household, in their homes, and leave that woman here. Oh, she do not have place to stay, and I want to take care about her. Again, female tendency to take care about others because their brain is literally wired to take care about the family and children. And so they have tendency to bringing strangers, especially women, inside of their household, and it's never ending up well. But if that woman have a husband or boyfriend, and boyfriend, I mean literally if they are living together, so it's literally boyfriend on level of intimacy like husband, then this husband actually will stop that, will say, hey, I don't want that, she must leave, and save that woman from much of the danger which she is creating for herself. Just think about it for the moment. And I will not even talk about what kind of impact of that have on household with the children. Without partners inside of home, without fathers, how you can raise a child. But that's topic for another video. I will end up here and with last thing. Many people think that we can fix this thing from in moment. That all the incels outside, all the men who do not have girlfriends, all the women who are now single, making themselves washing machines on decks, it could be fixed. That they will go out and will find a partner in the future. The problem is that these people are denying one simple thing. The damage is already done. We know that at least third of male, in my country, it's even 54% of young males between 18 to 25. We know that they never have sexual interaction with women or never have it in last year. And everybody thinks, okay, that's something fixable. That okay, we just let this man going to the gym, he will have six-pack, and he will suddenly find a girlfriend for him. It's not easy like that, because damage inside of him is already done. Jordan Peterson says one interesting thing. He says that young man supposed to be good in dating. He is supposed to go and date and have interaction with women, because if he failed, then he became resentful and bitter. And I repeated this quote constantly because it's just very shallow to explain. The man who do not have luck in dating, especially when he is young, he not just became resentful and bitter, but he became disconnected. And disconnection is something what we as a society, everybody of us, we should be afraid. Disconnection means that people could do something what we could not even imagine. Something terrible, something emotionless, something unhuman. Disconnection is bad. And the problem is, if these men are existing right now, we cannot erase that. They are probably already disconnected. And this disconnection will eventually end up doing something wrong. So the society, even social gatherings that existing, could be attacked by these people. basically creating a situation that men not just stopped going to the clubs, but literally attack the clubs, like the places where they was hurt, where they was rejected, where they was start to be disconnected. It reminds me, don't take my words, but it reminds me one smaller story for writer J.K. Rowling's author of Harry Potter. She made smaller story about wizard with furry heart. The story is basically goes that there was wizard, young man, who don't want to bother with feelings and emotion, and he take his own heart and put inside a box and lock the box inside of, I believe, cellar. And through his life, he became successful, rich, but eventually he ended up to marrying a woman because he started to want a woman. And I don't remember if it was him or her, but eventually, because he wanted to start to feel the feelings, he goes to the cellar, or her goes to the cellar, and find the box with his heart and open the box. But through that years of solitude, the heart became furry. And then furry means heart. Wild, angry, rural, dangerous. And the heart, his furry heart attacks her. This is so great and explaining so much what I mean. And it's created by women, J.K. Rowling. She literally explaining what I'm trying to tell you. If the man's heart became furry, it's creating huge dangers and it cannot be easily fixed. And we are constantly looking over it, we as the society. We have created millions of men with their hearts locked inside a small box in their cellars, became furry every day. And these furry hearts will eventually jump up from the box and start to doing terrible things. And this is outcome of Aschen complex. Thank you very much for your listening. I wish you all good nights, good mornings, great days. Thank you very much. See you. Goodbye.